We got to mix the mission statement with the idea that everything is relevant. Our stand-up is relevant. Living in New York is relevant because it's all how to deal with day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Is that generally it? Yeah. And how the littlest things in the world ruin your whole outlook on life just because of one day when it's really not that big of a deal, but we've got to find a way to deal with our fucking anger, basically.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to The Power of How. I'm Matt Fulcheron. I'm here with Brennan Tassif. I'm here with Daniel Torado. And we're back to work soon. Let's plug some dates.
Oh, yeah.
For God's sake.
Good catch.
I'm going to be
Good catch.
I'm going to be at the Jester Castle with Joe Bluth from Arrested Development. Yeah, that's a new club in Philly. And I've never been, but I'm going to be there on July 28th and 29th. And I'm bringing Brennan with me. It was almost a 3-dog night. I was trying to get Daniel on too, but he's in Canada.
Yeah, that would have been sweet.
Well, we were gonna plug it as like a whole thing. We were gonna do a podcast on the road.
Live podcast after.
That would have been nice.
And
we say live podcast. We're just in a rest stop, like filming.
And I'm doing the Brigada on August 31st.
Yeah.
Best gig in the New York City area.
July 31st, August 1st, and August 2nd.
July 31st. Oh, man. Dude,
What?
I've been dying to do the Borgata summertime.
Really?
I always get it when it's cold, man. I love hitting that beach. You know, I'm not even kidding. I love that boardwalk. It's pointless, man, when it's cold out. How many nights you getting?
It's 3 nights.
3 nights.
July 31st through August 2nd. And I never leave the casino when I'm there.
No.
I have before,
Yeah.
But like if my wife came to visit me, you gotta leave the casino. I mean, you kind of don't. She could stay there and gamble.
You remember when it used to be 6 nights or 7 nights?
I've done a week there where they just kept adding a show every day they call me
about that. Yeah.
and I'd be like, more money, less sanity,
sometimes they have you stay a night or two without performing, and they pay you.
Those are my favorite nights.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I usually don't get paid for that.
Actually, now that I'm thinking,
but you
might not. You get the room.
You get the free food.
You get the free food. That's right. I love that place, man.
But it's nice to have a day off with the nice room.
Yes.
With the nice view.
Yes.
Get some shit
That beautiful
done.
shower.
Yeah.
Oh, that shower.
Daniel's got a theory about the shower. I don't know if he wants to share.
I do not want to share.
Is the Borgata the place where you would go for the weekend and then like next week if like something were to happen to the next comic, they'd be like, just stay?
That's what happens a lot.
That's
like
what I'm saying.
People cancel. One guy, it was the Super Bowl Sunday.
Week.
Right.
It was Super Bowl Sunday one time, and I was supposed to leave, like Saturday was supposed to be my last one. But they were like, hey, Matt, can you do Sunday? Somebody canceled. And then everybody saw this comic that canceled. He had like some excuse, but everyone saw him at like some Super Bowl party Instagram photos. He canceled just to go to a party.
Wow.
And it's a 20-minute gig. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes, but that extra day, like I was feeling so good. I went on this Texas tour with Tom Segura, so I'm playing these big shows. I went to Brigada. I usually do well there, but I did well like every single show for like 6-7 nights. And then the show I stayed extra for, I just went up after this cruise ship comic that like sang songs and like gospel songs and stuff, I just ate a fucking dick to the point where 11 minutes in, they have a clock on stage, and 11 minutes in, I was just like, I haven't gotten a laugh. I'd just be like, guys, it wasn't my idea to go on after what's his name either.
Right.
All right, we should have gone on before. He does the songs, he does the stuff you like.
Did he see that?
I don't know if he saw it, but that like actually busted the room wide open. Because they're like, oh, it's not this guy's fault.
Right.
You know, and I was fine after that.
Victim of circumstance.
But it was more than halfway in.
Yeah.
That's when you can really take a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember there wasn't that many people there because it was Super Bowl Sunday, and I just saw 2 people like make a decision to get up and leave.
Right.
In the middle of the show?
Yeah.
The middle of the show. It was like 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, pull ripcord. One time I worked a miracle. I got like the audience on my side. They didn't like the first comic, and I just like they didn't like me at first either. But I got it going. And then I'm walking out the door, and this woman, I held the door for her, right? And she's walking out of the show just a little bit early. And she goes, I come here like once a month, and this is the worst show I've seen here ever. And I was like, thank you so much. And then her woman she's like, hey, that's one of the comics. She's like, huh? You know? But that's always nice when someone can confide in you.
Yeah.
They obviously were watching the show very closely.
Dude, it's like being on a cruise ship without being on a cruise ship, you know, and it's 20 minutes. And no, it's better because on cruise ships you need to do 35 to 40 minutes, and there you're sharing an hour, 20 minutes each.
Yeah,
it's so sweet. Even if the crowd isn't hot, it's still you're in and out.
Yeah,
the food is great. You can gamble.
Yeah, I don't gamble.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
Especially when I'm making money.
I'd get in trouble.
I hate to lose more than I make, or even put a dent in what I make.
Oh, that's been my entire life. Just lighting money on fire.
Really?
Right, dude, I'm an addict. Man.
You're a joker. You're a smoker. You're a midnight toker.
Dude, I love gambling.
Really?
Yes.
To this day.
Yeah.
Do you still gamble?
I'm not. No, I do gamble, but I'm not. That's the thing is like I've done all sorts of drugs and everything, and my one thing that I could never like stop doing once I started was drinking. Like, I had a real problem with Coke, but coming down off of, like, Coke and not doing that anymore was not nearly as difficult as drinking.
Right. And you probably only like Coke because you could drink more anyway.
Exactly. And so, gambling, though, it's that instant high. It's weird because, like, once someone, like, pries me away from the table, I, like, immediately forget about it.
Right.
I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. That was stupid.
It's like one of those horror movies when you get inside, like, the little area.
That's exactly what
and you're, like, looking at the demon.
I'm, like,
and it's like,
locked in.
And then someone pulls you out, and you're like, oh my God.
What happened?
I only lost $25.
What happened? Yeah, when I'm at the table, dude, I'm a fucking menace. I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm focused, laser locked in. Like, let's.
I know what you like
cards.
too. I know you. You like the moment where like everyone kind of wins, and you're all like, yeah.
Who doesn't?
Suck it, dealer.
Now let me ask you this, because you're part of your group, right?
Yeah.
Now, are you allowed?
It is frowned upon, very much so.
So you're not even. You can. Right? It's frowned upon,
it's not
but
that you can't.
Isn't it the same?
So that's the thing is like.
Same?
And so this is a weird kind of minutia that you get into. So like I know people in the super secret organization for just drugs, narcotics, as some might call it, and they drink because they're like, oh, I was addicted to heroin. I'm not addicted to booze.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then there's some people in my program. Now I'm maintained as far as like drinking and illicit drugs and stuff. I've maintained 100% sobriety. Like I don't smoke weed. I don't take Xanaxes. I don't do any prescription pills. None of that. But there are some people where it's different schools of thought. And like for me, because I played sports my whole life, I like betting on sports because it makes me more invested in the game. So I do enjoy that because then I'm like really rooting for something. And I've gotten to the point where, and I had never in my life bet money that I couldn't afford to lose. And I say that to say like I've never taken my rent money out of an account to put it on like a game of poker or something. Right. But I have been like, oh, I need to pay this electric bill, but I have 2 weeks to pay it, so I'll pull that money.
Yeah.
But like, I've never put myself in a spot where I was like going to get really messed up. Now, there are some people who are like, I am a natural addict. So like I said, when I sit down at the poker table, or if I start betting on games on Sunday, if I'm in that FanDuel app, I'll just start betting like the most random shit because I'm like, oh, well, if I'm going to bet one game, I'm going to bet all the games.
Right.
So I am an addict in that sense. But the second I like log out of FanDuel and like put my phone away, I don't like think about it again. So it's definitely frowned upon because it is an addictive behavior. But that's the thing that we realize in the program is like what's not an addictive. I go to the gym 6 days a week, whether I feel good or not. Yeah. That's not healthy. Yeah. But it's
What do you mean it's not?
It's not. It's especially the way I live because I power lift. But it's not like if you feel sick, you should rest. But I'm like, no, I have to go to the gym because I go to the gym. That's what I do. I'm going to the gym.
Wait. You mean when you feel sick while you're working out or before you work out?
No, like I'll wake up and be like, man, I feel like shit today. But it's like, well,
like legitimately under the weather for another reason,
like a cold or
flu. But I'm like, well, it's 9:00 and I go to the gym at 9:00 in the morning, so I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
And then I'll just like be texting Tracy like, this workout sucks, but my shitty workout's better than a lot of people's regular workouts, so I'm just going to keep going.
Let me clarify here, because I just want to make sure I understand this, because it's fascinating. So you equate... you know what I mean? You equate going to the gym and have that addiction of focusing on your health to the addiction of alcohol or drugs,
because it's not focusing on my health. If you're sick, if you wanted to really, truly, like break this down, if you really wanted to focus on your health and you woke up and you were legitimately sick, like throwing up, or you have a cold, or you're achy, you would say, you know what's
you go to the gym when if you feel like you need to throw up.
Throw up in the gym.
Jesus, why?
Because I go to that's my point.
Oh, wait.
I go to the gym.
But I'll play devil's advocate. But you're also focusing on your mental health with discipline, because there is something positive about staying disciplined.
Yeah.
Whether it's more on the positive side than on the negative side.
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds above gambling.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
I understand that, but I'm just saying I do understand that. But what I'm saying is, I have an addictive personality, so everything I do addictively. So, and that's the point I was making, was drinking is the one thing that I have found in my life. When I start doing it, I cannot stop. I just won't stop. I can't stop. But everything else that I have been addicted to, when I'm doing it, video games, for example, like when I'm playing my game, I'm like in it. And then the second something happens where I'm like, oh shit, I have to turn this off, as soon as I walk away from it, I won't play again for days at a time. But once I start playing, I'm like in it again.
Right.
And it's the same thing with gambling. It's the same thing. I mean, like I said, with the gym, where I wake up, as soon as I drink my pre-workout or like start putting my gym clothes on, like it doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to the gym.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by like, it's frowned upon, but there's different schools of thought. Like I said, I know people who haven't done heroin in 10 years and still drink on occasion. I know people who don't drink but smoke weed. Like it just depends.
You know what I find fascinating? I there's two things I'd love to talk about, but there's one thing that I find fascinating is
50
how
minutes.
Yeah, all right. Is how you still have to call yourself an addict once you're recovering.
I think the whole title is recovering addict.
It's
right?
Right, but you still say like I'm an alcoholic.
Well, it's the
right. Correct?
Don't ask me.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is my way.
Right.
I haven't labeled it yet. It's safer that
way. But from my understanding, you still have to say I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now, a part of me totally gets that, but another part of me feels like, how are you ever supposed to fully recover when you identify as that forever?
That's the trick.
Right.
You never fully recover.
So why can't you? Isn't that putting that impediment?
Yeah.
Pardon. I just want to
go.
Because I get that, but at the same time, setting that impediment and saying that you can, isn't that just kind of like in a way debilitating to overcoming something and putting?
But see, that's the thing that I can only speak to my experience, but in my experience with alcoholism and reading the Big Book, which is the book that we kind of go by, and there's a really good line in the Big Book where it says, like, men who have lost their legs, you will never grow new ones. So there's a certain line that you cross, and I think I've talked about this before, but there's a line that you cross from heavy drinker into problem drinker into alcoholic. And a lot of people, I didn't see it coming. I was just a guy who partied like 2 or 3 times a week with my friends. I played football, and I was really aggressive, and I'd get really fucked up and like do stupid shit, like put my head through a guy's window.
But all your friends were doing that too.
But we were all being stupid.
And what's the difference between a problem drinker and an alcoholic?
So glad you asked. A problem drinker. I
think I understand heavy drinker.
So a heavy drinker is someone who will binge drink on occasion. Like, they're your buddy, where I used to be a heavy drinker. Then a problem drinker is someone who starts like showing up to work hungover. It starts getting in the way of things, but it's not debilitating their lives. It's just like...
Okay. So it's giving you problems.
Yeah.
It gives the drinker problems.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, man, you're hungover again. Like, we need you top notch. Right. And then you can... The thing I always... For the people that I sponsor and for myself and what my sponsor has taught me is the thing I always say is, if you can put something above alcohol that's more important, that will get you to stop drinking, I don't think you qualify as an alcoholic. So, like, in my family, for example, we like to drink. But my twin sister has her kids, and she never drank when she was pregnant. If she has something she has to do with her children, she won't drink. Like, so I'm like, you're definitely, obviously not in the same lane I am, because my drinking got to a point where there was nothing more important than drinking. And I talk about this on the other show with a lot of my guests who are in recovery now, where they literally, I had a guest on who literally his roommate is fucking grandma's boy. His roommate was giving him rent, and he was spending it and going out and partying and not paying rent.
Right.
Like, but like think of like that's his house. And he was like, "Nah, fuck that. I want to drink." And I've done similar things. And so a problem drinker is someone, and we all know this person. They show up to the gig and they're like hungover, they're not themselves, or they're getting a little too drunk before they go on stage, and you're kind of like, all right, like come on, like what are we doing?
Right.
An alcoholic is someone who shows up and they're just blacked out and they stay blacked out.
And functioning alcoholics, are
people who are just showing up.
They're functioning.
I was very high functioning. I was showing up to work. I was like having fun with my tables. I was making an income.
You're no longer problematic.
Well, I mean, but it's still a problem because you go past
problem.
Yeah, you overcome
the problem.
Just fucking floor it, man. Just keep that foot on the gas. You get right through that obstacle.
But a lot of times, especially in like sober communities and stuff, the reason why I never say I am fully recovered is because that implicates that I can drink normally again. But the way my brain chemistry has changed over the course of the last 10 years, I can't. And I've said it before, and I say it all the time. It's a stupid movie, and it's super funny, but it is Frank the Tank in Old School. Right. When he says, once it hits your lips, it's just so good. That's exactly what happened to me.
Do you think it's possible?
I think Okay, so this is going to rub people the wrong way. Get the clip ready. Clip it! I think it is possible for people who think they are alcoholic to go back to drinking normally. And I will say that by saying I don't think those people were ever truly alcoholics. We have a lot of people now, and it's so great that the community is so wide open and it's so accessible to people, and I love that. And the only requirement for membership to AA is a desire to stop drinking. So I'm not going to front anybody for it. But I am a true alcoholic. I've lost relationships. I've lost a fucking fiance to it. Houses, like I've been homeless. I've lost jobs. I have put I put alcohol above everything in my life. Mm-hmm. So I am an alcoholic, and I know that, and I can say that for certain. But there are people who are like, oh, man, Brennan, I got to go to a meeting with you. And I go, absolutely. Like, what's going on? Talk to me. And they go, I got really drunk last night and texted my ex-girlfriend. And I'm like, that's not what we're doing here, man.
No, you go to AA when you married your ex-girlfriend.
But what I'm saying is that there are people who come into AA and then they get sober and they do the steps and they're working through their shit, which is awesome. And then maybe 10 years later, they pick up a drink and they go, oh, I can actually do this now. I would argue that they were never alcoholic to begin with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, and this rubs me the wrong fucking way, and I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be talking about this on a podcast. But
let's stop using the terms AA and stuff.
There are people.
We'll cut that out.
So we said it.
No.
Me and Brennan just said it.
We don't want to cut it out. But there is something where people can be very judgmental in certain circles, where they'll be like, "Oh, well, when I decided to stop drinking, I just stopped drinking," and then people like me who have relapsed quite a few times. In my head, I go, well, then obviously you didn't have a problem. Like, if you were just like, well, when I decided to stop, I stopped. And I pulled myself, that fucking conservative mind, I pulled myself up from my bootstraps.
Right.
Like,
all I need is me.
Off. Yeah. So that was a long-winded way to say, yes, I think gambling is okay.
It doesn't affect you the same way.
No, not at all. I mean, I do get angry sometimes if I gamble on a game and then something stupid happens and I end up losing the bet.
Yeah. That is different than drinking, though.
Yeah, it's way different.
Like, when you're drinking, you're not mad that you're drinking. You might get mad at something else.
Yeah. And I was always a happy drunk. When I got drunk, I was super happy until I wasn't.
Right. It's a dangerous beast.
It's I just recently heard this term this week. I didn't know it existed. Fattest. People who have a prejudice against fat people.
Fatphobic, yeah.
No, not fatphobic, fattest.
Oh,
like
fattest.
A racist.
Yeah.
But a fattest.
Are there meetings? What's the spread like?
Open buffet. This is horrible. We're cutting this out.
We're all getting together at the Golden Corral.
No, but what I think, and I found out, and I remember hearing even Joe Rogan, and I'm not saying he is at all. I'm just saying that I remember him saying just go to the gym, work it out. But I don't think it's, and I actually have a friend who told me about this and who openly told me that she was a fattest. And no, it's very strange. And it's very strange. And I think it's very bizarre because I think it's not fair at all because, overweight people, it's an addiction. It's a food addiction, but it's the only addiction that shows.
Yeah.
You could be an alcoholic, but be functioning. It doesn't show. You can have any gambling or porn addiction or whatever it is. It just doesn't show.
And it's the safe thing to do at a party. It's like, it's never it's that outrageous to eat something.
Well, right. But so is eating, so is eating. And a lot of people who, have eating disorders, it's most of the times, from my understanding of it, pardon my ignorance if I'm wrong, but it's a psychological issue, and it's crazy to just be turned off or angry at a fat person because we don't know the story behind it.
Yeah,
and it's such an unfair. It's an unfair addiction or judgment.
Well,
just because it's visual.
It's also not. It can be not a heavy addiction. It can be just kind of unfortunate. It can be like genetics.
Right.
I've read things that the food we have here in the U.S. is just working against you.
Yeah, there's thyroid.
Really terribly.
You're chubbist.
Yeah. What?
If you're chubbist.
I'm just anti-chub. I'm not a full fat.
Well, it's weird.
No, I'm just kidding. I want to go on record and say, be yourself, man. I ain't mad at you.
I have body dysmorphia, and I've had it since I was a kid because I used to get bullied for being fat. And so my whole, like when we walked up and Daniel was like, "Hey, man, you losing weight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." And you go, "You look good." And in my head, I appreciate the compliment, but in my head, I automatically go to, "No, you don't, you fat piece of shit."
Yeah, because you're always going to be a fat person in your head.
And I talk about that on stage.
Recovering overweight person.
Yeah. Recovering all around.
Not gambling, though. Look, alive and well.
But it's interesting because I've gone on stage before and been like, yeah, because I have this whole bit about like hating cardio and like everyone thinks I'm in shape because I have wide shoulders, but I do that to hide my big stomach. And I've done that. And then the comic after me who's gone up has been genuinely like battling with obesity.
Yeah.
And they've been like, fuck you, man. Like, right. Gone on stage and like they try to make a joke about it. And then I feel like miserable, but I'm like, no, I feel just as shitty about myself as anyone in this room. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that comic after you is just fighting for his or her life.
Yeah.
It's not really about you.
Yeah. That's
and
true.
most of the audience relates to wanting to be more perfect,
yeah.
even though it's just a fucking bad goal.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, it all comes down to, your ego and thinking that you're better than the other person. And it's like I don't know. We all go, like, I'm at a coffee shop today. A guy walks in, top shape without his shirt on, and it's like,
I saw a guy at the subway with no shirt on.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ripped?
Ripped tattoos.
It's like,
kick him in the dick.
I'm a rippist. Yeah. It's like so annoying. Like,
you don't like the ripped.
No, I like the humbly ripped.
Yeah.
I appreciate the humbly ripped.
If you're ripped and quiet, Daniel's your friend.
Right. I love ripped people who will never show that they're ripped.
Yeah.
Wear a baggy shirt.
I respect that.
Sure.
It is such a different game. There's like no ego. You don't make anyone feel uncomfortable about how, your diet or how.
But all of a sudden at a pickup basketball game, you're like, holy shit, Jeff works out.
Right. When you don't have a choice or you're at the beach, but don't do it gratuitously. You know what I mean? Don't jog without your t-shirt. Just put a fucking t-shirt on. Like
my
put a tank top. Put on something.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way? Do you feel the same way about women running around the city in bikinis and spandex?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I think like yoga pants, for example. I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Lock them and load them.
It's like, I remember we're at a coffee shop and, everyone was staring at a woman who had yoga pants on. And it's like, but you're literally staring at a naked woman. Like she's showing everything. And the paradox is that yoga is such a meditative practice, if not taught by a 19-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Like
flame throwing everything.
No, I'm just saying if I'm going to go to yoga class, you
better be at least 32.
I want a 95-year-old Indian man. It's like that's the only time I'm going to be a racist. It's like when if I go to kung fu class, I want a 9-year-old sifu.
Okay,
that's what I want.
All right.
I don't want. I don't know. I don't want a Polish guy teaching me kung fu. I'm sorry. Like if I go to a Polish restaurant, I don't want a Polish cook.
Right.
It's just I don't know. It's just me. I'm getting agitated because there's something about yoga pants.
Bill Burr's coming out over here. So.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know. Hey,
I'm just
if I want racism, I don't want it from a half Latino. Okay,
Right, exactly. Very good point.
I'm kidding.
No.
I'm just trying to. Just trying to get some kind of flavor.
Half Polish.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's the dichotomy of a meditative practice with you're supposed to go to class, which is supposed to uplift you your frequency, your spiritual frequency, and you have like literally hot naked people in front of you. And it's like when
it's uplifting something.
Or right. And like it's like I remember when I went to my first meditation retreat, and some people might argue that this is wrong, but when I went to a 10-day meditation retreat, they would segregate the men from the women, and they would also make sure that the men and the women wear baggy clothing while they meditate, and nothing that will be too provocative and if you're in that state of mind of a meditative state of mind, or you want to focus on yourself, and you have all these distractions. It's like going to church and saying, imagine seeing everyone half naked in church.
There's a porn star hanging from the cross, butt naked.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just up there with nothing but a loincloth.
But it's like it goes against the very principle of what you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, yes, I don't want to see,
Well, that's more of a complicated situation.
Right.
But
I'm talking about just Susie Trust Fund jogging around the city.
Right.
In like a spandex bikini. Do you hate that just as much?
No,
as ripped?
No, it's not. You can jog however the fuck you want. I don't care how you jog. It just reminds people. I just don't like seeing ego behind the jogger.
Gotcha.
That's all that bothers me.
Well, you know what?
Do you know what I mean?
I was going to complain about a specific type of jogger, and I'm realizing that's what it is.
It's the ego.
It's the ego is the motivation.
Right.
When there's side streets and there's busy streets, and when people jog on busy streets, I'm like, what is going on with you?
Right.
There's mostly side streets in Greenpoint.
Yes.
But people want to roll up and down the busy streets. And it's there's a fruit stand right there and a subway stop right by it.
Right.
Head over. There's also a track in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's
Nobody
like a
wants to run on the
track.
because then not a million people can see him.
To be fair, it's a crazy situation on the track. There's like kids riding tricycles, dude, like opposite direction, and like soccer balls constantly. Like going fast, people going the wrong way,
Right.
people with fucking jam boxes and shit.
But you know what's cool? I love seeing someone who's totally out of shape jogging with her shirt off.
Do you?
I was going to
being sincere.
I respect that.
Okay.
I respect that.
There's no ego there.
Well, it is, but you're crushing it.
Yeah.
You're working on it's a spiritual practice as much as it is a physical exercise.
It's hard. I can't take my shirt off at the beach sometimes because I have such body dysmorphia. I'm like, as soon as you take the shirt off, everyone knows you're a fraud.
Yeah.
I look jacked as shit with clothes on, but as soon as I take that shirt off and my loose skin from when I was super fat hangs over, I'm like, fucking just walk in the ocean, don't come back.
I'm with you. Like if I know I'm swimming, like going to the beach, like I won't eat that much that day,
I do that before I have shows.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm gonna film this set, so I can't eat all day,
right?
And I have to sit in the sauna for 20 extra minutes, get all that water away.
But isn't it insane how this world has made us so obsessed with our obsessed with our physical appearance? It is.
It sucks.
It
starts at an early age too.
Disease.
Yeah.
I've been throwing up after big meals. Like I don't do it much anymore, but I had done that from like the age of 24. When I was done with school and I gained all that weight.
Right.
So from like 24 to like 30, 32 even. If I went out to eat and had like a really big meal, I'd be like, well, that was a waste of money. Because I'd get home and I'd be like, you can't let all this food sit in your... And I would just throw up. I was like, you worked too hard to lose all that weight. You just gained 7 pounds from one meal. And I would just throw up.
Yeah.
And also like the plastic surgery is the norm in New York, especially. I had a show and a group of pretty girls were sitting in front of me, and I said, "Oh, you girls look like like the Kardashians pre-surgery."
Yeah,
and they were so offended by that. They didn't laugh at any joke after I said that, but I just meant to say, you look like pretty normal human beings.
Yeah.
You know, you don't look like all like fish, you
Plastic.
know, you're right. But it's become the norm to get
to the point where it used to be
nose, fake lips, fake cheekbones, and tan, and to reconstruct your face, and that's become normal.
People
normal.
talk about it openly now.
Botox,
It used to
filler,
be
all that
something
stuff,
where
yeah.
like I'm not.
Well, like therapy before it was so taboo to say you have a therapist. No one would ever say that.
No.
I never saw that until I moved to New York. I am my therapist. I'm like,
Right.
whoa.
Like when you used to hear like Richard Lewis talk about it and shit.
Right.
You'd be
Oh,
like,
God,
what is
yeah.
wrong with
Right.
you, man? Or Woody Allen. You'd be like, what's wrong, dude?
And it's and you see it on social media all the time. You see like people working out. You see people become influencers. They get millions of followers because of their bodies, and you see it with and you see it oddly enough with the meditation. Like
We're this close.
To me, the stupidest thing is meditating and taping yourself meditating.
That's crazy.
And posting that.
That's nutty.
I'm like, that is the most unmeditative thing.
We're this close to people taping
I'm
their
so
therapies.
judgmental.
Yeah.
I'm being right now very unmeditative.
No, this is a fun show.
No, but you know what I mean. This is very
also
unmeditative. No, because it's fake. It's phony. It's
Torado
phony.
going
It's phony.
wild.
And it's and I'll be the first one to say that I would love to not have that judgment,
Yeah.
but I think it's the lack of I guess authenticity, man. It's to do something that's so private in public. It just,
I couldn't agree with you
discussed
more.
This before. We've
100%.
discussed this before.
Well, the thing I wanted to say, when you said authenticity, it clicked in my head. It seeps into other aspects of life, and we all know that. That's obvious, but like comedy. I know people who do stand-up, and I've literally had them on my show, and they go, well, I really like attention, and stand-up is the easiest path to get that. We know, and it's like...
Well, we know it. We all want attention.
But you know what I'm
We
saying? Like,
all want it.
like they don't care about comedy itself. They
Right.
just want people to pay attention to them, which is
Right.
fine. But like you're saying...
But isn't that what comics also...
But what you're saying with the meditative thing, like there are people who go to meditate because they truly want to find inner peace and meditate. And then there's people who do it because they're like, oh, this could be my lane for something.
They want to be a meditator.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
that's what I'm saying is like with, and I know it from just the aspect of comedy where it's like, I genuinely like taking dark situations and making them funny because that's how I survived my entire childhood was trying to make myself laugh at horrible situations. So that's what I try to bring to other people. That's genuinely from the place I'm coming from when it comes to stand-up.
Right.
And then, but that's what I'm saying is like, what's the difference between meditator and being like the person who meditates and the person who wants to be like a meditator, like an influencer, and like with comedy or with acting or with music. Like there are people who genuinely have something to say or want to portray something through art. And then there are other people who are like, oh, I'm kind of good at this, and people will pay. Like, is there a difference?
I think.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
is there-
I do, but I also think that I don't think you're either or. I think you're a little bit of everything.
oh yeah, that's true.
I think.
I guess
like,
I was looking at it black and white.
I think you're a dichotomy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think comics as artists, and I will call them artists. I don't give a fuck what comics say, but you are a
Goddamn right.
fucking artist. Suffer the most out of all the artists. They suffer.
You could
the
have
most
told me
from-
that 25 years ago. Jesus Christ, man, I'm dying over here.
No, because it's so cool to say, yeah, a comic's not an artist. Like, fuck off, man. You're an artist, man. You're putting yourself out there. You're putting your soul out there. You're putting your thoughts. You're constructing thoughts. You're directing your thoughts.
It's nothing crazy. It's like that's the definition of being an artist. You're creating something that can be consumed.
But it's like so taboo to say that.
Well, that's like that tough guy comic thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
they like to treat it like a blue collar worker. Like I show up to work, I do my time.
Right.
I say fucking art.
Yeah.
And those usually the guys were like, no shit, it ain't art, bro. You read that in a joke book.
Right. But comics do not insult Dice.
At this point, it really doesn't matter.
But they suffer the most of all artists. They suffer the most of a narcissistic wound, where you a narcissistic wound in psychology is a trauma that you had in your childhood, or is consciously, subconsciously, or even unconsciously.
Yeah, it's called childhood.
Right. Some trauma that you had that caused so much pain at whatever level of consciousness or subconsciousness that you, for the rest of your life, you need to repair or heal your sense of self or false sense of self, let's call it ego, just to feel better about yourself. So when you really think about it, a comic is the most insecure of all artists because he's on stage alone, with a spotlight, with no other actor, with no music, with no director.
And nowhere to go either. You're just up there.
Nowhere to go.
And it's your thoughts.
And your thoughts. Sharing. It's like, how desperate do you have to be as a human being to say, like, pay attention?
Right.
Like, I'm alive.
Well, that's what
Whereas
I've been meditating on.
Right. And a dancer has a partner. A solo dancer has music. An actor, even if it's a soliloquy, it's got the writer, but a comic is like nude, is up there, and to dare and not call them an artist is shameful.
Yeah.
It's insulting.
It's bashful.
Yeah. It's rude at the very least.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, it's just inaccurate.
It is inaccurate. And so to answer your question, I think the dichotomy of a comedian is what's so messed up is that you have to be so soft and vulnerable and such a wimp to absorb all the pain, but yet have to be so hard and brave to go on stage and have the courage to be up there and share those thoughts. I had an acting teacher, brilliant, Richard Pinter. He would call actors like a soft iron, because there is that clash, and I think they're both. I think there is ego, but I think the best of artists are the ones that are the most giving.
Yeah.
The best comics are the ones who talk to an audience and not at an audience. Are the ones who really talk to the audience and share their thoughts and are giving, as opposed to wishing or wanting to receive my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I always found it fascinating because it's one of those things where with all art, and it's just with life in general, is there people who are very good, and I saw it with sports. There are people who are very good at things, just God-given talent, and they're good, and they just don't want it, they don't care about it, but they're good, so they just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then I come at it from the perspective of I was the guy who was in the gym all the time, dieting all the time, like working out, like trying to do different like stretches and all this stuff when I played football to get better. And then same thing with comedy. It's like I know people who are just blowing up, it seems like left and right, because they're just naturally gifted. They don't care about what they're saying. They don't give a shit about. They genuinely
Goodwill hunting.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I genuinely am happy for them, but at the same time, I look at it and I almost get not even jealous, almost like angry that they don't appreciate it because they don't care about it.
Right.
And so that's the thing.
Or they don't know.
That's true.
Or they don't know the struggle.
Yeah, because that's the thing I guess I was kind of asking was that whole, I get out there and I'm trying this for what I'm trying to do for other people. And then, like we were talking about earlier with the ego and the ripped guys running with their shirt off and the hot girls running in their sports bra. It's like, are you doing this for you, or are you doing this because other people will see you running and be like, I should get out and run? Yeah.
and it could be both. And it could be both.
True.
And it could be both. But there's something, whether you're in shape or not, I prefer you have your shirt on when you're running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or just in general.
It's just,
You have strong feelings.
I do have strong feelings.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's just out of hand. It's out of hand to be in a coffee shop working and then somebody walks in half naked just because they're jacked. I want to see a chubby dude walk in, I would like...
You text me the next time and I'll come in there with my shirt on.
I'd buy him coffee,
Yeah.
Farmer's tan, tattoos, my chubby belly hanging out. You text me where you're at and I'll show up.
But then the most fucked up thing is that I'm not better than any of them because I end up, having that judgment. And I wish in a perfect world I wouldn't have that judgment.
Yeah.
I wish in a perfect world I would just be open and be like, hey, whatever, man. Like, he's got his issues. He needs to show his abs, and I need to show my comedy, and I need to show we all.
I need to show my cut. I was like, whoa.
No, but you know what? We're all the same, man.
Yeah.
We're all the same. We're all seeking attention. We're all seeking love. We're all seeking to be wanted, and we're all the same. And as long as I keep forgetting that, I'm not any better than that dude.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why episode 25, we're going to be all shirtless.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Can we do that?
I don't want to do that. Not from this angle.
Right.
Sitting all frumped over. I did an underwear show once.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah,
I heard of that.
I did an underwear show once, and
did someone get naked on that show? I heard some
this was
people.
back in Jacksonville.
Some people. Oh, because I heard in New York.
There's a naked show. There's naked shows in New York. Yeah,
right.
but
I would never do that, man.
back in Jacksonville, I did an underwear show.
You don't have to be naked to go in there, right?
No.
Okay.
No, you're there. You're there to laugh at people's dicks.
Right.
Not your own.
It was brutal because, again, I look so much better with clothes on than clothes off, and at this underwear show, it was eye-opening because I'm being serious. Like, you look, like, if I walk around, people go, man, that's a big dude, because I'm pretty big.
Right.
The second I, sit down, or, I had tape that said I did at the cellar, and my shirt was a little tight, and I, turn a certain way, and my belly's, hanging over, and I'm like, you disgusting piece of garbage.
Well, you could edit that. You could just, zoom in.
Yeah.
Right.
Punch out, punch in. But it was weird, because when I did the underwear show, I taped it, because I'm a fucking masochist. And I just remember watching it being like, this is bad. Really, really bad.
That's what I mean. Why do we think that way?
I don't know. But that's what I'm saying.
Why does it matter if you have a little bit of chub sticking out? Like who gives a fuck? But why do we care about that shit?
Because we've been taught to care about it, and we've been ridiculed.
This is the whole point of this show, is to realize how it doesn't fucking matter. It's
no, it
doesn't. And it's whoever the person is who won't be able to focus on your comedy because you have a little chub sticking out, that's not the type of following you want.
Not only that, if you get too perfect looking, people are like, what the fuck are you doing up on that comedy stage? I don't relate to any of your problems. You look too good.
Right.
I brought it up on the show before. There was a guy who I saw at an open mic who was doing that. He's like, do you know how hard it is to look like this and do comedy? I'm so much more attractive. And I was like, what are you doing? You cannot.
Right.
We're at an open mic in fucking Greenwich Village, dude.
Right.
At 3 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Right.
Unless you play on how good looking you are, which I always appreciate. If a comic's really good looking and then they play on how good looking
they mention
it.
Yeah.
Then, because it's obvious. Everyone's thinking about it and everyone knows.
Oh, see, he was doing that, but I was like, this is not.
I thought you meant he was belittling himself.
No, he was amping himself up.
Oh.
And I was like,
Did that work?
No, not in that room.
Oh, not in that room, right.
It's in an
I know a room.
Mic.
I know a room it would work in.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not going to say.
No, but we know
there's
comics
there's certain rooms that are have a certain clientele.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking of two now. You know one of them.
I was going to say, I think we talked.
Yeah.
Won't say anymore.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on that's when you find out whether jokes are funny. You don't find out whether jokes are funny at an open mic anyway.
No.
Unless they're just 360 dunks.
Yeah.
Right.
And even then you got to question them because these people are crazy that are laughing.
I just wrote a bit about this, talking about writing a bit from something we were talking about. I had someone on my podcast, and her and I were talking about just the open mic scene, because she was doing Zoom open mics during the pandemic, and I was like, what was that like? And she, obviously horrible. But we came to the conclusion that if you crush at a New York City open mic, that's not... If you get a giggle, you're like, oh, that's a bit. If you crush, it's like, oh, you need therapy. That's not...
you need to start a podcast. You're going to be rich.
Yeah, because that's... If you can get a bunch of fucking New York City open mic comics to die laughing, something seriously fucked up.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, if you're even in the position, you're already halfway there.
Oh God,
I'm insulting myself. Don't read into it.
What do you mean? Don't think about me.
Yeah.
Those are my funnest times, though. In a way, doing open mics.
Oh yeah. People keep telling me that, but I'm still in it, so I don't see it with rose-colored glasses yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I was always happy to get out of it.
Yeah.
But
I love open mics with a real audience.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Love
Jacksonville.
those.
We had a ton of
love those open mics. I love, and I would love to see seasoned comics do all new jokes.
Yeah.
As an open micer.
Right.
And it would be like, because a lot of comics would also do a lot of comics coming up would do their A material on the open mic night.
Yeah.
And it was like, it defeats the purpose of the open mic.
Well, I told you guys about that mic that we have on Wednesdays. It's new mic. It's new joke Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we all hold each other accountable, and it is so much fun.
I'm gonna go. You were talking about going to those. I'm gonna go.
Love to
I'm
go.
going.
Dude,
We're going.
we all
love to
and the
go.
second
We're doing a field trip.
you'll bomb, and then you'll go new joke, and then everybody goes, hell yeah, fuck yeah. It just starts
Like you're gambling.
Yeah.
Big money, no whammies. Punchline.
Yeah. No, it's so important to do that. And I feel like now, just who said that? I forget the comic who said that whenever you go on stage, just throw in a new joke. I think that's the scariest thing to do.
You have to.
On a weekend A-list club and just sneak in a new bit that you never tried. That is scary.
It is scary, but it makes you feel alive.
I did that on Monday.
And if you have a saver, you're going to be okay.
Well, you need you need
You
one.
have to have one. I did that on Monday when I got I got to host at the Stand.
You did a newbie, all newbie.
Well, it was interesting because it was one of those things where I do so many mics and just so many shitty rooms like bar shows and stuff, and I love doing them. But again, it's an ambush comedy. Nobody knows you're going to do comedy, and they're like, "Hey guys, comedy night!"
Yeah.
Surprise!
I've been saving up for a month for this dinner.
Right.
And now I'm listening to your thoughts.
But then doing it at the Stand as like the host, like I had no responsibility. And Matt was there. Matt saw I was fucking nervous, but like I went up and I started with like tight five, just went into it and started getting laughs. And then I was like, oh, this is so much easier than all those other shows that you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's enthusiasm.
Yeah, and people want to be there and they want to see. So then I was just slipping in like little things.
Oh, I had
just started working on this week, and I was like last week, and I was like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And they loved it, and I was like, da.
It was cool, man. Like hanging out paid off for once.
Yeah,
me and Brennan went to the Stand.
Yeah, he was telling me right before the show.
I've been telling everybody. I was so excited.
7-8 minutes before the show.
Wow.
8:52.
Yeah,
I looked right at my phone because he goes, "You want to host the 9?" And I immediately got clean. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, because that's a big one. It's not like, hey, you want to do a spot at 9? It's, hey, do you want to run this whole goddamn show?
Yeah. Right. There's a comic
because it's like 9-10 comics.
Yeah.
And
there was a couple comics in from LA. There's some local comics who are really, really good. And I was just like, it's weird because, and this is fascinating to me because in our line of work or any line of work, whether it's finance or art or fucking, doesn't matter. People say, oh, just say yes. You got to take the opportunity. You got to see, and even in sports, they're like, you got to make the most out of it when you get in there, blah, blah, blah. I find it so interesting because in my head, that can go really wrong. That's why I'm not, and I don't know if it's because I've been in the business for a while or what, but I'm not very, like, I will say yes to a lot. Yeah. But I am not very quick to just jump on and go, yeah, absolutely. Right. Like, I'll be like when Joe was like, hey, do you want to host the 9? I was like, yeah. Right. I wasn't immediately like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, let me do it. Because you have to weigh because it's like, this could go really poorly. Yeah. I could bomb this set.
Yeah, but even if you thought it could go poorly, I don't think you'd say no.
No, I'm still going to do it. But like,
But you had, it was almost like you instantly knew what would be good about it and what would be bad about it.
Well, there's more good than bad.
Like, there's more good than bad, but you needed 5 nanoseconds
to be like, wait.
To go.
Of course.
That was the roast.
Yes.
That was the roast because when they asked me to do that roast, I go, I don't do roasts. And like I had friends be like, why would you say no, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I don't do it. And then finally I agreed to do it. And I told you, it made me, like I cried on the way home. Like it made me want to leave New York City. And I was like, I don't.
Well, you also roasted a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really believe in roasting only the people you love.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
That's a good point.
That's
I really believe. I think it's evil.
It also helps
to roast people who you don't know.
But it also helps that the audience knows who the fuck you're roasting.
Yeah.
Like if I'm roasting Jeff from the fucking open mic.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. It's like you got to, first of all, you got to set it all up. Jeff was adopted.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you make a joke about being adopted.
Dude.
It's like when they roasted Sinatra, it was like everybody knew him.
Yeah.
And they knew he was rich, so he could handle it. He's just sitting there smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. The Fires Club and all them only do celebrities.
I would see like cruel shit. Like, they were. I'm pretty sure they were buddies. But I remember once seeing at the New York Comedy Club, and I forget his name. He's a very funny comedian. But he has I don't think he has all his fingers, and his one or two of his fingers kind of stick out. I forget his name. I don't know him, but when I saw him, he's really funny. But the guy roasting him, he opened up with like, I didn't know I was going to roast a cactus, and it killed.
Right,
and you could tell that. You could tell that they were friends. Like you could tell that, you know, that they knew each other, or, you know, but when it gets so personal, like, oh, your parents are divorced, or, you know, she had an abortion, or like, and you don't even know me.
Yeah.
It's and
I'm laughing because I've seen this shit.
Yeah, and people start
they start researching each
lives,
other. Yeah,
and then they start asking around, like, do you know anything? And it just becomes like,
this is my least favorite genre.
Dude, yeah,
I think
it's great when you know each other.
Yeah.
Like the
I don't
famous
even like it
roasts
then.
from the 60s.
I usually like the first two roasters on like a Comedy Central roast.
Yeah.
And then it just starts to repeat itself. It can be fun. It can be funny, especially if you're roasting a celebrity.
I just don't like negativity like that.
Yeah.
It's fucked
It's like
up.
when we saw that, I'm sure you all saw that Joan Rivers documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't want to do it, right?
Man, she's
like, I'm better than all these fuckers.
No, but it's cruel.
Yeah.
How they treated her, and it's like it's whack.
Yeah.
I think it's just it comes from a. I don't know, and and it feeds the audience, and the audience loves it, and it feeds that negativity.
Fucking animals, man. It's like Gladiator all over again.
Yeah, there's something so strange about human beings who enjoy watching someone suffer. Well, it's a lot like,
it's a big audience.
It's like it's the
biggest. We were just talking about
it's the Coliseum. It's the Coliseum.
That's what I'm saying.
It's totally.
We want to see a fucking dude getting eaten by a lion, and we will cheer. I remember the first time I went to Spain with my dad, and we went to see a bullfight. Bro, I was 14 years old,
Dude,
and
too much.
I could not stop crying. And I wished that the bull would kill the dude.
Right.
I was just rooting for the bull, and it was beyond me. That was so part of the culture to root for a guy torturing a bull.
Root for, they'll escort the bull there.
Right. Yeah, right.
I never understood. And I mean, maybe that's why.
What's also funny is like it has a reputation of being such a chill country,
right?
And then until you add a bull,
well, there's
running with the bulls,
running with the bulls,
by the bull, and fucking sticking knives in the bull.
If you're dumb enough to want to do that and get chased by bulls, you know, like, what do you expect?
I know what I expect. I expect to be the guy that gets trampled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, that's an Irishman in Spain.
Right.
Oh, that's going to be me.
Right.
Yeah, so that was I never got the idea that it was like a fun thing to see.
No.
But if you read,
it's a terrible thing to see.
But if you read that Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises, you understand that it's like this romantic, like rock star shit. They love the matador. They love the bullfighter. Mm-hmm. They love the outfits. Like, it's a big production, and the society that lives there fucking loves it. And even a lot of outsiders like Ernest Hemingway fucking love it, and people fall in love with the bullfighter. Like, there's nothing better than being a bullfighter in Spain, right? Like, what else can you be?
Right. Yeah, but mind you, Hemingway is...
he's a violent guy, though. Obviously.
But the epitome of,
he's macho.
Canceling someone, right? It's everything they want to destroy. Is machismo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He wouldn't be too popular today.
Well, there's certain people that would like him.
Certain people.
There's a whole macho movement.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Certain people stay popular. Certain people stay popular.
That is the counter argument to all this sensitivity, and that is considered the answer.
Right.
Is just like a full, like, all right, fucked everything we learned in the past 15 years. Right. I'm going back to the fucking 60s.
Yeah.
The early 60s.
Right.
Madman.
No, 100%.
I was always comfortable with the progress and like ditching the macho. I think it's good. I don't think we can ever escape it.
I cry at fucking gum commercials. I'm very happy with ditching the macho.
Well, I think a little bit of macho in everyone is healthy.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's a question of extremes. It's like,
but to consider another perspective is healthy too.
100%.
Right? We're men. We're gonna fall into macho. Like, I just got in an argument with the guy at the fucking...
You could get canceled for saying that today.
What did I say?
Yeah.
You just fall into macho.
No, like it can be a default, whether it's genetic or the way we were raised, and probably
Right.
both. I got in a fucking macho thing with the guy at the corner store just now. Like I was getting a 6-pack, and he didn't tell me what price it was, and I go, $5.99. Is it $5.99? He's like, no. You need to be smarter than that. Like, fucking $5.99? He kept saying, get smart. Come back when you're smart.
Was it $3.99? What was it?
It was
cheaper, or was it more
$15. It was $15, but sometimes, like especially outside of the city, like $6 on sale is not the craziest fucking price for a 6-pack.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was like really giving it to me, and like, I'm not good at giving it to people because I kind of insult myself when I give it to people. He goes, come back when you're smart. I go, hey, you don't have to call me stupid. Jesus Christ. And he's like, how can I call you anything else? And I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Did you get the 6-pack?
I already had the 6-pack. I'm walking it out. He's like drive-by heckling me because I'm fucking walking out. You know what I mean? And I was all over the place. I was like, I came back at the guy too hard, but I also didn't come back hard enough. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm fucking angry. And I was like, well, I shouldn't be angry. And then I was like, what are we doing here? I'm just not going back there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting my business anymore. You should have given it to me for $5.99. You fucking prick.
Yeah.
You know, it's too much. It comes back to what we were talking about before, winning the moment.
Yeah.
You still want to win the moment. You still want to be the biggest chest beater.
Yeah.
Even though you know, it's hard to figure out. It's hard to figure out what you should be, especially when you're online, you do hear these macho arguments, and you go, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to be fucking like macho. Maybe we're supposed to win.
Alpha,
you know? And then I listen to I guess philosophical thinkers like Buddhists, and I want to be like them too. But some days you're listening to it and you're like, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
You know, this can't work today for me.
Not today.
That's what you think. You know, I don't know. I'm lost here. But I'm saying there's so many different philosophies, and there's so many different thoughts in your head that you try different things. Yeah. You know? And you should be open to different things.
And it's, it's like I'm thinking of Osho. You guys know Osho, right?
No.
Osho.
You've talked about him before.
Yeah, Osho. Yeah. He was like a spiritual guru, very controversial, but his teachings were mind-blowing. So he would always say, like, you know Zorba the Greek? You know Zorba the Greek? Have you read the book or seen the movie? Yeah. So it's like it's like this guy who like fully lives. You know, he's been to war. He's had women. He's a drinker. He's like a man who's lived. And then you got Buddha, who's really meditative and just sits by a tree, and and he says you don't want to be like Buddha because it's good to be meditative sometimes because it's it's good to have that peace of mind, but you never see Buddha dancing. He's never standing up and he's never moving. He's always sitting. And Zorba, you want to live, you want to dance like Buddha, you want to be alive like Buddha, but there's nothing meditative about him. Yeah. So his ideal
you're talking about Zorba, right?
Right, Zorba the Greek, right?
Dance like Zorba, be alive like Zorba.
Well, he would call it be Zorba the Buddha.
Oh, okay.
Which I loved. I always loved that idea. Right. Of being, which comes back to like we don't know what we're supposed to be, and I don't think you're supposed to be this or that. Right. But I think as long as you do everything in a present moment, whether you're dancing or even when you're drinking, like Osho would say, a smoker can never be like an enlightened person can never be a smoker, because if you're fully aware, you would never put that cigarette to your lips because you're in full awareness. But at the same time, if you do smoke, smoke it fully. You know what I mean?
Whatever you choose.
Whatever you choose.
Choose hard.
You choose. Just do it fully and be present when you do it. But the more presence and the more awareness you have, the less you need to do these things, because we do these things, we eat or we drink or we smoke because we're not at ease. Yeah. We're in dis-ease and we want to connect to that peaceful, easy place. So we do these things. But if you're fully aware that that's the reason, and you're conscious about it, then you don't need to do it because you're aware of why you're doing it.
Yeah, you're already there.
Yeah, you're already there.
It's fucking tough though.
I love smoking.
Yeah, and it's hard to
That's
go.
why you don't smoke.
No, I do smoke.
It's hard to go.
Cigarettes.
Yeah,
Right.
It's hard to go. I want to drink because I want to relax, and be like, "Well, just relax without it."
Yeah, that's hard.
He'll tell you. I think that's going to do it for us at the Power of How. Come see us, Daniel and I. Is that show we're doing open to the public?
I don't know. I can find out.
We'll have more details. We got time on that one. But in the meantime, check out Jester. We're going to be at
Philly.
Yeah, in Philly, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Jester Castle. We'll get to the bottom of this venue. It's new.
It's cool.
If you live in Philly,
come out.
If you live in Philly, you're going to want to check it out too. And 3 clubs down there now. That's fucking awesome. All right. Cue that intro music. I love it. Thanks for listening to The Power of How. Music by Daniel Torado. Artwork by Nelson Diaz. Follow us on all the social medias at The Power of How Podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe. And check us out at patreon.com/The Power of How Podcast. Send us some positive vibes in the form of U.S. currency. See you next week, everybody.